we are going to code today. We are going to code a Chrome extension. We built a Chrome extension a while back, and one of the most common questions on that video was, Tiff, we want to see it published, like go through the publishing process. So we're going to include that today, starting from beginning to end, and do it all relatively quickly. I did not know how simple it is to build Chrome extensions. They are so cool, and it's such a great way to add something to your portfolio or your projects and really stand out for employers and be able to talk about this project that's not, you know, a to-do app or a to-do list. This is something that whether you're a beginner or further along in your career, you can follow along to. Very simple to do. We are going to be using HTML, JavaScript, and we're also going to be using an API. For this project specifically, we are going to do a currency converter. So I always am looking on my phone or searching up to convert different currencies. I'm Canadian, so from Canadian, a lot of times to US or European. I work with a lot of different kind of companies, and I thought this would be a really fun project to do. If you are interested in something that's not a currency converter, the steps we are taking though, you can really modify this to use whatever API you want, to use whatever kind of structure your Chrome extension however you want. Okay, coffee. Okay, we have the liquid of the gods. We're ready to get coding. First, what we're going to do is create a manifest JSON file, and what this is going to do is give some metadata, the glare on these glasses, I'm telling you, give some metadata to Chrome about this extension. So things like the version, things like the description. Let's get into it here. First, let's start with the name. And let's give it the version. For this, of course, it's version 1.0, first version of this app. Manifest version, which is the version for this manifest, which let's just go 2 for now. Oops, 2. Description. Description of this is extension 2. And then we need to give some information about the browser actions. So for this, there'll be another object here. Default underscore icon, which will be the default icon for this. Let's call this icon, which we need to create still. Let's just do icon.png. We're getting really fancy here. And then let's also give this a default pop-up, which will be our HTML. So in this case, let's call this index.html. All right, perfect. Next up, speaking of HTML, let's create this index.html file. Also, I shared this in one of my other videos, and I was kind of embarrassed to share this because I thought, oh, everyone must know this, but if you just go exclamation mark and then enter, it will create a file for you, or the beginning of a file for you, which is super nice. So now in this index.html, we essentially want to be able to choose what currency we are converting. This is where I need more coffee right now. To US dollars. So let's have Canadian, European, let's put a few others in there, and then whatever, you can select which currency you are currently in and convert it to US. So from here, let's take out all of this outside of the head, and let's start by giving this a title. And for this, let's call this Tiff's Exchange. Currency exchange. And obviously, if you're publishing this, I'm not actually going to publish this. We'll go through that process, but I'm not actually going to publish it. But if you are, obviously give it a better title than that. And then we are going to be putting in some script here, which will be coming from, let's call it exchange.js. All right, perfect. And then let's actually just create that file now, so we don't name it something else later on or something happens. Perfect. Now outside the head, let's get into creating this. And inside the body, of course. Okay, so in here, let's give this an H1 for heading, and this is going to be exchange rate converter. And then let's also start giving it some input, where we will input what, oops, what is going on here? Why aren't you liking me? All right, anyways, input. And in this input, it is a type of a number. Just give it some information, be specific here. And let's do a placeholder. Let's call this enter in amount, say. And actually, let's make input self-closing. There we go. Input is self-closing, right? Yeah. All right, next up, we are going to have a select, which will be the ID of currency. We will use these IDs in our JavaScript file. And then in select, we will have some options. So let's do option. And the value will be European. And as I mentioned, we'll do copy. Let's do a few others. Let's do CAD. Let's do British, which I just looked up as GBP. Maybe I should know that, I don't know. And then, no, I shouldn't, I'm not British. And then let's do one more. I'm gonna search up another one. Let's do Japanese because I've never been to Japan and I always wanna go. Once again, just give me whatever you want. And then let's also put this. Save that. And then now under the select, we'll need a button that we can use to convert. So button, and let's call this convert currency. And the ID of this button will be convert. We're getting very creative here, you know? All right, underneath the button, let's do a div which will have an ID of result, and that is where we'll display the result. So this is pretty simple so far. You know, we're just creating an HTML file that, once again, you can follow along for this tutorial, and then from there, I would really suggest going ahead and making your own. Like, you can get so creative with Chrome extensions. There are so many different possibilities, things that I know I want to make, and I wanted to start with something, though, simple, but also this time using an API to really enable you to take this tutorial and use your own APIs if you want, or whatever you want to build with. All right, I think we are in good shape. Let's format this better. Didn't really format that better. I always, when I format, I go on a Mac, I go Command A to select all, and then I go, now I can't do it because I'm talking about it, Option Shift Format. Is there a better way? We should look this up. Is there a better way? Because I feel like this didn't do the best. I did okay. Let me know down in the comments though. All right, let's get into though our JavaScript file. So the first thing we're going to do is get these elements by ID. So we made some IDs in here from currency, amount, convert, and results. So let's go ahead and do that. The first one is amount. Let's go amount, const amount equals document get element by ID, and the ID is amount. Now let's copy and then update it. Amount, and we have currency. And then we have convert and result. Now this is getting the IDs from the HTML document. There we go, perfect. Next up, because we are using an API, we're going to need to get our API key, which I will share with you in a bit here how to do that. Let's just put that there temporarily. And also too, we will need to define the API URL, which once again, let's just continue on and then we'll get to the API stuff afterwards. Okay, and then the first one is, now let's start with convert, the convert button. Convert, and then we want to add a listener event essentially. So when the button is clicked, click, then let's create a function here. Oops, I'm doing this backwards. Oh, it's early in the morning. To be honest, it's not even 9 a.m., which for me is pretty early to be coding. Okay, and then let's start going const amount total equals amount dot value. Let's grab the value. I don't want that. Like, let me live my life. Value. Let's take the URL and then also to the currency total. Because in this, we are passing in the currency total. All right, now let's fetch this URL. Pass in our headers, which will be our API key. now that we have our JavaScript, our HTML, and our manifest JSON, we need to, as a reminder, get our icon. So for this, I just went online, searched money icon PNG, and then add it to your project as well. Because if you remember here, default icon is icon.png. And then we have as well default pop-up, which is index.html, which is coming from here. So it's very important to make sure that you have those things outlined properly. Next up, let's go to API Ninjas, and this is where I am getting this API from. Now I'm actually, here we go. Okay, so for this API, as I mentioned, it is for the currency exchange. So if you go down to exchange rate, there is a 1 hour delay in fetching the latest exchange rates, which I'm fine with. I was using this in an application where others were using it maybe but the exchange rate doesn't change that much, typically, famous last words, in an hour, so I'm fine with it. So yeah, API Ninjas, it's free to sign up, and I really love, they have a ton of different APIs, which makes me get really creative, and this isn't sponsored by them or anything, I just discovered them and fell in love with them. So yeah, I went to exchange rate, and then if you scroll down, you can see here they have code examples. So we used something similar for JavaScript. Well, we used fetch, but similar concept anyway. So now we need to grab our API key. So I'm gonna go ahead and log in. And after I log in, I will take you along with me as to where to get the API key from. Okay, now that I've logged into, forgot my password, so how to reset that. Now that I've logged into API Ninjas, you can see here, I just went to my account, and then right here is where you will be able to find your API key. I'm obviously not gonna share it with you, but this is where you can find your own. And once again, this is completely free. This is why I wanted to use this in this example, because it's not like you have to pay a fee or anything to use it. It's just a free, fun API. Okay, so let's grab our API key. Okay, one thing too, before we go back into our code, we need to grab our API URL. So you can see here, I love how they, we're in Python right now, but whatever you're in, for the tab. But the URL, so we're going to grab this up until your euro, because we also made that you can select based on a few different options for what currency you want to convert to US. So let's copy this as well. And let's copy, go back into our code. There we go. And then we can make an environment file for this, or you can just input it. Well, you should make an environment file for this actually. Let's go ahead and do just that. This is what happens. It's too early in the morning to hear that noise. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get this Chrome extension going. So for this, we open up Google Chrome, of course, and we're gonna go to Chrome extension. Chrome extensions. Perfect, okay. So you can see here, I just have 2 extensions right now. You can see here, make sure your developer mode is toggled on, and then go to load unpacked. From there, you can see here, we have our Chrome extension, or whatever folder you put your code and made this project into, and let's select. Okay, there we go. Let's see, is there some errors here? Description. Manifest version 2 is depreciated. Well, what one should we be using? Okay, let's go here. Manifest v3, all right. Chrome will no longer run Manifest v2 extensions. So, Manifest v3, all right. So let's go back to our code and update that. See, this is what happens when you learn in public. We also fail in public. So it just actually got updated to version 3, it says in January, so pretty recently. So let's go back here. I love how though they just share errors with you like that. Let's go back to our code. Okay, there we go. Save, and let's see. Do we have to re-upload the project? Yeah, I think we do. Okay, let's go remove, and let's try this again. And we have spelling errors. This is just the reality. Of course you don't recognize this. Is there anything else I did wrong today? Okay, I think we should be good now. Now let's remove it again. Do this process one more time. Remove. Yeah, load unpacked. So what to use instead. Let's see, browser action requires energy or lower. Let's copy that. Oh, it's just action now? Okay, let's try that. So just to action now, all right. And then didn't say anything about default icon or default pop-up, so hopefully that's okay. Let's go here, clear all errors, oops, remove, and let's try this again. No errors. See, there's a will, there's a way. Let's keep on moving forward now. Now, if we go into our extensions icon, we will see here we have our exchange rates. Now, let's go ahead and use this. This is super cool. Enter an amount. I'm going to enter in $100, and let's change this to Canadian, convert currency. No. Let's inspect. Okay, here's what we did. It's the naming conventions, which is terrible. So I have result here, and then I also have const result up top. So this needs to be something different. So let's call this result price. And this is used right here, result price. Then this result is still for here. We don't need this. Perfect. All right, let's try this one more time. Let's go back here. Remove. Okay. Now we go to extensions, exchange rates. Let's go 100 Canadian. Okay, we are back, and I figured out what was wrong. You can see I have a bunch of console logs. Essentially what was happening is we actually need to wrap this entire file in an event listener for when the index HTML file has already loaded. So we were loading our JavaScript file before we were loading our index HTML, and therefore all our get elements by ID were null. So I will share that code with you in a second here, but before I go up there to show you that, I also want to share with you that I updated the code in a few places. So I actually renamed this to result price. No, I think we spoke about this. Result price, which is once again here. And then as well, the data is not just rate, it's exchange rate. This goes to, I feel like I'm being the stereotype of read the frickin' documentation. All right, so now I was just testing it out by going into dragging the index HTML file into Chrome. Let's go here. Let's do one more time before we go. 100, convert from Canadian to US. And we can see, also, isn't that not insane? 100, I'm Canadian, I go to the US all the time. If I buy something that's worth 100 Canadian, I had to pay 135, which is mind-blowing, mind-blowing. Let's go back though to the extensions, and we can just refresh. Exchange rates, and we can see now, let's try this here as well. Canadian, convert, and there we go. We did it. This is so cool. This was so fun and simple. Now let's get into quickly how to publish this, how to actually publish this. Okay, here are the steps for publishing this on the Chrome extension site. So the first thing you're going to do is zip your project up and make sure this contains all the files that we just created, including your icon.png. Then you're going to go to this URL here, sign into your Google account, click on the Add New Item, and of course read through the agreement, and if you choose to, accept the developer's agreement. Essentially, then you can upload your zip containing all of your files, and then they require you to send in some screenshots of your Chrome extension, and I think this is so they can check it out as well. So then at this point, you can either make your Chrome extension free or a paid version, and then essentially click on Publish Changes. At this point, you have to wait till the review process is done, which can take a day or a few days, and once it's done, you will get notified if your Chrome extension is published. Let me know down in the comments if you do this and what you end up publishing. I definitely want to check them out. Maybe I'll do some shout outs of extensions you make in future videos. That would be fun. Yeah, let me know, share with me the Chrome extensions you make, and I'll share with them in some future videos. I think that'd be really fun. Also, I linked this code down below, so if you want to follow along through cloning this repository, go ahead and do so. Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what should we build next. I love building and learning with you, building, failing, and just kind of figuring it out as we go. I think it's a really fun way to not be so buttoned up and perfect and just make mistakes along the way and learn together. All right, have a wonderful day. I'll see you all soon.